Okay, that was really weird. Right, I'm going to try and explain, while it's still kind of in my head, what's going on. I'm not even too sure myself, but it all seems to relate in some way to time traveling and that type of thing. Now, you may know that my latest album is called Time Travel. However, what you might not know is how it even came to be, into being, and what led to what we're talking about now. I'm going to try and say it in a way that makes sense to you. I'll start with actually shortly after I wrote the song Time Travel, because I was working with Dave Charters on some songs, as we do for a new album, and the song was called Time Travel. So anyway, I'd made that song, put it down, and I was out one Saturday. Funny, it's a Saturday as well. And I was just doing a bit of shopping, and while I was on my journey, I was riding my bike. There was a learner driver, and they drove past, and the name of the company was called Jules. Well, obviously that's me, innit? So not one for ignoring a sign, as it were. Just nice. Okay. As I continued on my journey, it said cycle path. So I thought, okay, I will cycle on the path. As I got to the end, obviously it said stop and wait, which I did. Which I was lucky that I did, because it saved my life. Because there happened to be a big truck zooming past. Anyway, carried on. I continued to follow the path, and as I look to my right and my left, I see another sign, a billboard sign that said, to continue. So I did. And then on my left hand side, I saw a sign which said, invest in time travel. Well, I mean, you can't get more blatantly obvious than that. So I thought, okay. I had a little think about it in the evening after my journey and all these little epiphanies that maybe that won't mean anything to you. But you see, I'm called Jules, and I just made a song called Time Travel, or an album, and clearly it's saying to invest in it. Anyway, investing in time travel, and I thought, I'll have a look around, see what types of symbolisms and things like that I can use, to put on the album cover and whatnot. And obviously, one of those things, Quantum Leap is one. And you've got Doctor Who is another. And then you got Back to the Future, which is another. And obviously that movie was a trilogy. Anyway, didn't think anything more of it. It's just a bit of harmless fun, referring to counterculture, as it were, pop culture, as Andy Warhol used to enlighten us with, because that's what art does, isn't it? He might have been off his face, but his contact to higher dimensions, so we say, was beyond maybe his own perceptions, and maybe it means more to us than it did to him. Anyway, Back to the Future, as it were, or let's get back to the Future, as I was talking about it. Back to the Future Part 1. Thought I'd have a little watch of it the other day. There's a lot of interesting things on there, especially when you listen to the audio commentaries and things like that these people discuss why they did these things, in the behind the scenes stuff. Go and watch that stuff. It's readily available. It's very entertaining. It's very interesting, especially if you're a profound, deep thinker, So, Back to the Future Part 2. Can anybody tell me what year they travelled to? because it was, you know, back in the 80s when these movies was made, and the sequel was basically set in the same time of 1984, I believe. 1984, yeah. I mean, who read that book? So anyway, 1984 is when time travel becomes possible in the movies in a new sense, and obviously I'm going to refer in the links to the video that talks about the Illuminati symbolism in the Back to the Future trilogy, because it's a very interesting eye-opener, and it gives myself as a deep thinker, a lot of references to look at. You know, I go study things, I go look at and research things. So guess what? In the movie, from the top of my head, I'll watch it again, but 23rd of October 2015 is the date that they travelled to. The 20th, now we're not there yet, but we're very nearly there. So I thought I'd do a video, you know, talking about this. Because all of these epiphanies this year, you know, it's just been full of epiphanies. You know, you might not have gone down the path that I personally would have liked people to go down, but nonetheless, we're still here. Everything is still okay, you know, as they say. Where there's life, there's hope, as long as we continue in the way that we have been doing, many of us, which is to promote peace, promote love, promote freedom, promote intelligent debate, you know, openness and friendliness, and, you know, getting to know people. As I often say, you know, we can't beat the enemy, we must win them. And to win them, you know, we've got to get them on side, haven't we? And if they're your friend, where's the enemy? He's been defeated. You see? These are the great wisdoms. Yeah? Whichever religious tradition you choose to follow, let's realise that not for the lack of trying, man is trying to get together on the subject of where we come from, where we're going. So, you know, where we come from, that's history. Where we're going, that's in the future. Yeah? Where we always are, in the present moment. Where does consciousness go when you're asleep? Many places. Yeah? But when we're awake, we can meditate on the idea of time, can't we? The idea that it's this time. You know, which, when you think about it, it's a bit crazy that we are even talking about time anyway, because what is time? You know, is it 12 and 24 hours because we're on a planet Earth going around the sun? Is that the same on Saturn and Jupiter? What time is it there? You know, time is where you are. Time is always now, the eternal now. That's always existed. It will always exist. Okay? So us being the time travelers, all of us, in this spaceship, time ship, whatever you want to call it, planet Earth, where we all live together, we've got a lot of lessons to learn. And we think, many of us, that we can go into the future, as it were, with, you know, great technologies, but limited understanding of how things are together. And by that I mean, what is wisdom? Well, I'll try and define what wisdom is, okay, in my limited way. I believe wisdom is the knowledge that pertains to better ways of living for human beings. Okay? That's wisdom. Better ways. So, technology often promises to be a better way, doesn't it? However, as we've often seen, it comes with its own perils. Just like in the movie Back to the Future, believe it or not. So anyway, referring back to some of the dates and some of the things that are in the link to the Illuminati references that are within the Back to the Future movie that was made by somebody else, but I'm now going to comment about that and add my own little bit, because we're in the time, aren't we? And it's very significant that these signs produce themselves in such a way. I mean, you can choose to believe me or not. I'm just telling you how it is and what happened, you know, and what's been happening, and why the consciousness and the awakening and everybody's waking up. And here we are. Look at the calendar. I went and looked at the beginning of the calendar, and I started with Monday, although some would say, well, don't start with Monday, but we're in the time that uses Monday, okay, for argument's sake, right? We know the sun is the first day because the sun is the first light, yeah, Sunday, then comes the moon day, Monday, okay? But we're going to start with Monday anyway. It doesn't really matter, as long as you start with one of them. At the beginning of the year, you could start with Thursday, actually, which is going to be even more profound if you look at that at the end. If you started with Thursday, which was the first day as according to the calendar we're currently using, okay, which is the Julian calendar. The Julian calendar, going back to Julius Caesar, yeah. Well, actually, we're in the Gregorian calendar, but Ethiopia is the Julian calendar, you know, and that happens to be 7 years behind our calendar, you know. But again, a year is a year, and if you go to the 42nd week of this year, you will find that that is the week that contains the date from the movie Back to the Future Part 2. The 23rd of October 2015 is in the middle of that week on the Wednesday. Okay? This is just going off the top of my head. If I'm slightly wrong, don't crucify me. Okay? 23rd of October. And it happens to be more or less 7 days before what ceremony that America happens to introduce worldwide, Halloween, yeah? Some call it the hallowed evening, referring to the witches and the demons and the things like that that has been pertaining to. You know, the occult, as Mark Passio often talks about, the occult merely means the eyes and that which is open to your eyes, you know, the inner eye, the pineal gland, that type of thing. Again, this is all going to tie in directly and correlate to what was in that Back to the Future Part 2 Illuminati symbolism that's in there. You got the two pines that then becomes the one pine at the end of the first film, and I never noticed that before until I watched these things, you know. It's weird. My head feels like it's buzzing at the moment. Got a little bit of a headache because I had a lot of sleep, but you know. Anyway, I digress. So, anyway, being a year of symbols and symbolisms as we've had, and many symbolisms to come, I'm just suggesting that we all maybe look at this week, you know, the 42nd week of this year, maybe specifically the 23rd of October 2015. Now, don't ask me why, okay? Don't ask me why, because it's just the same way that when I saw the learner car go past me and it said Jules and I followed the path, and then the path said invest in time travel, and then I made the album Time Travel, and then I looked for references, and then Back to the Future Part 1 and 2, and then in Part 2 it's talking about when did they travel to the time we're not yet in, which we'll shortly be in, which is the 23rd of October 2015. And what was significant about that date? Well, go and watch the Illuminati symbolism that has been revealed in that movie, okay? Because this is big now. I think this is quite big, you know, very big. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but still, to me, I'm going to talk about it. I've been prompted to talk about it. As I say, the symbolism. I have noticed that the 31st of October, for certain people, tends to be a date that they like to pull a lot of trick and treats on people. And I think we know what we're all talking about. Okay, for those that are very deep and studious and look at all the information and dig for the gold and the silver, which is the wisdom and the knowledge. And as I just said, what is wisdom? Wisdom is a particular type of knowledge that pertains to human beings and better ways of living. And if we knew our future, we would all be living better. And we would all try to be rich based on we know exactly what's going to happen. But obviously in life that doesn't happen like that. So you have to now. I'm just turning into a street that it's called Lloyd and Wright. Anyway, now this profound information. Again, I happen to be in a car talking about time travel. Yeah, I didn't go at 88 miles an hour yet though. Symbolism, very powerful. Now, you may remember that earlier this year, Siri, the phone company, was, people was talking about what was a particular date on, I think it was the July or June 23rd or something like that, yeah? And said opening of, oh, Jesus. It said opening the gates of Hades. I know personally a lot of bad shit was going on at that time. That's why I had to stop then, because it just hit me again just how deep this information is, how powerful it is. I don't know what's going on, people, except my feelings. It's like we feel things, we're intuitively connected to this universe and everything in it. As I've said to you maybe in the past, and for those that have been paying attention, follow the white rabbit. Who is the white rabbit? Does anybody know who the white rabbit is? What is the year of the rabbit? Hey, what is the month of the rabbit? And so on and so forth. Do you know these things? Shall I spell it out to you? The year of the rabbit? You can go look that up. The month of the rabbit. Well, I'll give you a little clue. We call it the Mad March Hare. Okay? Now the Mad March Hare, or another word for hare, if it was a name, would be Julian. Oh dear. Why? Anyway, I'm just digressing, aren't I? Follow the learner driver, Jules. Follow the learner driver. Invest in time travel. Look at these symbols, yeah? And I'm asking you to look at these things as well, people, Obviously, the opening of the gates of Hades on Siri deserves some looking at. Maybe there's some significance with this date of the 23rd of October 2015 and a correlation to the date that Siri gave, how many days after, how many, what's going on here. And obviously there's a lot of movements, to-ins and throw-ins, and people saying this and that and the other is going on, eyes wide open. Eyes wide open, people. Internally and externally. You've got to process information. You've got to try and get some personal time for yourself, peace and quiet, not just all the time in the rat race, but time away from it, time by yourself so that you can, process information. Okay, I mean, I'm feeling very charged with this information. Once again, it's things are happening in the world. And me personally, I pray that the outcome will always be good. But we've got to also look at you know, that which sometimes might frighten us, you know, because we have choices to make as a human race. And I think that again ties in with what's going on in America with the Pope and all the rest of it, and them talking about and being prepared to announce a one world government, new world order. And then we look at where did that idea first get spoken about? And we're not talking about that which was revealed in the Bible. And then talking about, if you're talking about the Bible, you're talking about Jesus Christ, aren't you? Then go and watch that, you know, documentary put together about the symbolism, which I will put the link to, you know, the Illuminati. Illuminating, enlightening, who knows? Where are we getting this information? Who knows? But it's coming to us, you know? Yeah, they got rid of Pluto as a planet, didn't they? They killed it. They killed Hades. Has death been conquered, do you think? I'm just going to throw some random things out there, just so we've got a few things to think about and talk about here, you know? The Hadron Collider being one of them, you know, and the idea that wormholes, black holes, what was that a film called? You know, where the guy is going into space and basically he has to go into a wormhole to travel to a different dimension, you know, and then realizing that consciousness is the part of dimensionality that crosses boundaries, like love, like gravity, you know, crosses across the boundaries of time and space and all these things. The eternal morals that exist. Doesn't matter if you went back a million years, the morals still exist. Why? Because morals, like wisdom, is that which pertains to a human being. And if you know what one of those is, you're all right, aren't you? But if you don't know what one of those is, maybe you're in trouble. You know, what is man? Where did man come from? Where is he going? A man without knowledge of his past history and culture is like a tree without roots. So if you want to see the future, you must also learn to look at where you've been and see where you've been. And then you will start to see the patterns in the trends. You know? And this is how you get to, shall we say, time view things. I mean, things just come to us. Those that are enlightened know what we're talking about, know what we're feeling. You know? It's an alignment of mind, body, and soul, and that's why we can talk about it, you know? It's just coming from our hearts. I'm not sitting there necessarily thinking too deep about this, you know? I've just been presented with this information and I'm relaying it back to you almost at the speed of thought. And that's how it goes, you know? Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that for now. I'm going to go and do a bit more investigating. Oh yeah, the Libyans, they was the ones in the Back to the Future movie, weren't they? Driving the van. You know, after the plutonium. Pluto. Or, you know, the god of Hades, or whatever you want to call it, you know, that very symbolic. And like I say, I'd never seen this symbolism before. And obviously they put it in there. They crafted this film and put these little things in there, what we today call Easter eggs. You know, for those that are astute, for those that are awake. Well, what's Easter? It's not Easter supposed to be the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and therefore the conquering of death. And who carries the Easter eggs traditionally? Is it not the Easter bunny? What the hell? And then people are like, well, you're confusing me now, mate. You're confusing me. Symbolism, my friends. The symbolism that only certain people maybe understand. And then when things become clearer, You know, like a pair of spectacles. How far can you see? We've all got an important job to play. You know, maybe I'm the only consciousness. Maybe you're the only consciousness. Maybe we really do have infinite consciousness. You know, and therefore being in that infinite consciousness is like being in God, isn't it? You know, we've got to decide what kind of world we want to have. I think we're shortly going to be presented with a choice. Again, another red pill, blue pill choice. And let me tell you, there's no easy answers, people. There's only one answer to anything, and that's hard work. That's what reality shows you every day. That's the reality you know. Right? Anything else is a fantasy and a delusion. Do not believe it. There's no easy way out of anything. It's hard work. If you want to make something right, if you've done wrong, it's 10 times harder, isn't it? Than if you never did the wrong. So the first thing we must always do is never do the wrong, because it always makes things 10 times harder. If you think a problem's bad now, just add something worse to it. And obviously, yeah, obviously. So it's the same with going to other countries and trying to fight wars, or even sometimes not fight wars. You know, we're all here debating. The world is all here debating. We've seen some horrible things, haven't we? We've seen some babies washed up on the beach, haven't we? And we've been reminded of our own children. You know, you want to know what immortality is and what your future is? Your future is your children. That's your future. You can see your future. You can see your future. And you know what crosses boundaries? Like gravity? It's love, innit? Just like eternal values, eternal morals, yeah, eternal compassion, duties of care, and rediscovering what care is. Because money has taken over. Money is a machine that is manipulating man and corrupting his heart every single day, because the bills are so high. But why are the bills so high? Who's decided the bills are so high? Did you not see that guy the other day talking about, I'm going to jack the price of the AIDS drug up 5,000%? Have the gates of Hades been opened, yes or no? When people on this earth think like that. How much technology have we got? It's clearly not enough. Oh, do you think if we plug technology into people, it will make them better? When we're in a state of mind that everything we're making right now is not with the godly heart and the godly spirit, you think that's going to work? What we need to look at is Christ's righteousness. And by Christ's righteousness, I mean everybody understands the message of Christ. I don't care if you don't believe he was a real guy or not. It doesn't matter. What's his message? And that's it. So if everybody can deal with the message, then we'll get what we want. And we're talking about a Christ righteous government, which I believe the Pope is himself trying to, shall we say, push forward. But I don't know if he's the right guy. Yeah? Many of you out there have your reasons to look at that situation. Some of you will call him the Antichrist, Vicarai Philadii. Yeah? Counting the name and the number of the man. Well, here is wisdom for the name and the number of the man. For it is 60, yeah, 600, yeah, and 66. As it says it in the Bible, it's 60, 6 and 10. Anyway, point is, who uses that? The name of a man shall be the number of a man. That sounds a bit confusing, doesn't it? However, when you remember that Latin is one of the only languages to use letters for numbers. Oh. Vicarai, V-I-C. Is that 600? Count the rest yourself. Anyway. It may be symbolic. It may not be. But just remember, when the man of sin, of perdition, sits in the holy seat and starts proclaiming a holy but blasphemies out of his mouth, and certain things start happening, you know? Remember, you have the opportunity to time travel right now by using your wisdom. So use your wisdom every day, people. And by that, be kind to everybody. Yeah, be loving. I know there's lots of reasons that people are saying scared of this, scared of that. We've got to be a part of it, don't we? We've got to be in it to win it. All right? And we cannot afford to lose our freedoms. We've got to allow it all, so to speak. You know, let birds of a feather flock together. If you're not like that, don't be with those people. You know, be around people that you want to be around. Be around godly people. Yeah, build those numbers. Yeah, it's about building. It's about families. It's about trust. It's about love. It's about compassion. Yeah, and really, really live in it. Yeah, because there might be a time very, very shortly in the future where your entire life might depend on it, as many people have already been through that measure. Yeah, the poor, blessed are they, because they've been through a lot right now. They're always going through a lot, but they've been through a lot right now. And, you know, if you want to enter in the kingdom of heaven, I'll tell you now, it's easier for a camel, and you know how big a camel is, to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And you know what heaven and hell is? They're the same thing, same existence, same simultaneous place, right? We're in it right now. We're in heaven, we're in hell right now. And you know how we get to one or the other? It's by feeding each other. Because the rules of living are you can only be fed with a 6-foot long spoon. That means that the effect you have in this world is far reaching. And you don't get necessarily fed by it. But if you continue to do that good, pay it forward as it were, yeah, then you will get the return, won't you? Because the world that you live in will be better. Everybody's got to do it. Okay? No good if some of us are just doing it. And this is where now good has got to start, you know, getting off its backside and saying, well, hold on, we're going to do good things. Yeah? We're going to do good things. We're going to promote jobs. We're going to create them. Yeah? We're going to create manufacturing. We're going to create industry. We're not going to sit back and say, oh, a corporation's taking over everything. You know what? The world's got to... Get on with it, mate. Work. Work is the solution. Not laziness, not chat. Okay? Although I'm sat here chatting, I do a lot of work. And you can see my work. Okay? But it's not about works. Because works can't save you. You know? Works can't save any of us. But at the same time, faith without works is dead, or death, or Hades. Yeah. So think about that, people. We're in a trinity of a trinity of a trinity. A wheel within a wheel. Okay? And things are being revealed to us all the time. We're at a very exciting time now because we've been able to read about it. It's in the Bible. Go read it.